What's up, YouTube? I'm gonna do a roster talk about the Call of Duty rosters, about COD champs, and what moves I would like to see coming up. You know, I've been trying to keep track of what's going on, and there's just not a lot of talk right now. Obviously, you got to give it a few days before anything actually happens. It's always an interesting time of year when a lot of teams make moves. It's one of the more entertaining parts of it. It's just that hope that the team that you like is gonna do something that puts them either back into contention or to win more titles, or like in Complexity's case, when they got rid of Clay, brought Karma on just to continue winning and to propel them into champs and to win that. All right, Denial just won COD champs, which it surprised a lot of people, but I mean they were the number 2 seed, so it's really not that big of a deal. It's not like TR won. That probably would have been a much bigger deal. Um, Denal had took second at the last two events before this. They have a good roster. Clayster's a proven player. JCap's a proven player. Attach is kind of new. He hadn't won a championship before, but he's a great slayer. He's playing in Cali, which he's from Cali. His family was there. And then Replays, he won a title with Denial and Ghost when they had Zuma and Saints and Study. So, Optic, it was just an off event for them. They came out flat. They were playing the number 2 seed that was coming in the tournament. Denial can't come out flat against them. Neither team can come out flat. If Denial has a off series, Optic rolls them. If Optic has a bad series, Denial rolls them. And they drop into the losers. They lose to FaZe. Okay. FaZe has got a lot of slam power. They came out. They wanted to beat Optic. They did. FaZe ended up losing to TR. TR had their number. TR is a great roster. You're talking about roster talk. TR, look, they took second at champs. Someone gonna take a chance on one of their players. It makes sense. You look at the roster. Hawk was playing out of his mind at times. That dude is just crazy good at times. Nagafin, he has all these different kind of tactics, but he's a good player. SB, TK, Envy, Optic Nation. Hex has said that Optic Nation is going to stay intact. So, is that the right move? I don't know. Killer played better. Karma's a great player. TP and Mir kind of had off events. Do you break up the duo of Kill and Mir? Do you cut them both? They're just not going to make a move, I guess, and just build off. I mean, they placed well at the event before this. I think they took 4th, if I'm not mistaken. So, just work on playing better at hardpoint. They're not very good at that. They're a good search team. If they can still capture the flag or an uplink off someone, they can win. Because they are good at search. If someone has an off event, like you saw Optic have an off event, if a couple teams have an off event, Optic Nation can win. They have to perform well online though, because like X Games is going to be playoff for the season, and they performed so poorly in the first season, but they've looked better so far in season 2. There's only been a few games. I don't know what the record is, but they've looked better. They're winning games. So, Envy, they have not looked good in season 2. Not at all, and it's very important. So, they didn't look good in season 2. They haven't really placed well yet. They placed poorly at this event, which is the biggest one of the year. So what do? Does Merc retire? That's all the talk. Merc's retired. Merc's retired. It's possible. That's up to him. I don't think Castro's going to force him out at this point. They got to try to keep Saints if they can. He's a great slayer. Zuma, he kind of gets some flack because of all of the way he plays sometimes. And I think he's a good player though. Nameless. If they can keep that core three, if Merck does retire, go get a Hook, go get a Proof, go get an Apathy. But I think Apathy might be a better fit on TK, which we'll talk about now. TK, potentially Theory moving. He mentioned it right after that he said he should retire. I don't think he should retire. He's a great player. But obviously, you can either chalk it up to a bad event, but they didn't place that well at the one before this, even though they only lost Optic and Denial at regionals. So I kind of feel like they need to make a move to try to win events, because at the end of the day, while they showed threats to Optic, they haven't really shown the threat that they're going to win the event. It's all the other teams too. I mean, it's not just beating Optic. As you saw, FaZe Red, they made their lineup to beat them. They couldn't do it. They couldn't win the event. They could beat Optic, but they couldn't win the event. They played teams with better teamwork than them. And so now our team's going to be trying to just get players that are going to be more teamwork, because it had been, okay, we're going to slay out. We're going to slay out. We're going to slay out. This isn't Ghost. If this was Ghost, I don't think Denial wins the event. Attach played really well. Clay played insanely well. But I don't know. If this is Ghost, but it's not Ghost. And Denial has shown that they're either the best or second best team in the game. They won the biggest event, and they took second at the two before that, so they're right there. Will they win the next one? I don't know. It's going to be a big, big task for them to show that they are the best team, and that's what it's going to come down to, is if they can come out and win either this next event or the one after, and just keep chalking on those wins, then they can prove that they're the best. But, alright, so Envy, Proofy maybe. He's looking for a roster. So that's what I'm going to say right now, is if Merck retires, that makes sense to me. Just put Proofy on that roster. You look at like FaZe Red, they have a lot of people that just do the OBJ when they have to. You saw Enable at times just take over that role because he just said, it just needed to be done. So maybe you don't necessarily need an OBJ. People look at Nate as the OBJ and Optic, and you see Scump and Krim doing all kinds of OBJ work. So with the ability to move across the map so fast, it's more just about getting things done. It doesn't matter who it is. You have those players like Clay and Formal that will just sit there and have the AR and tear shit up. But all the other players need to just be on it. Ace has talked about it in the past, is a comfortability thing, and he's always tried to make sure that the players that he's playing with are comfortable in their roles, and that's an important thing. I think you saw that with Optic. Formal at the last three events, they won. He was comfortable. Something was just didn't click this event, and they were not comfortable. I don't know if it was the pressure or whatever, but anyways, moving on. So we talked about TK. No, we haven't talked about TK. We did talk about TK. We talked about Envy. Talked about TK. I think Apathy's the person. Get rid of Theory. You have Looney, App, Goon, and Sharp. And, Apathy, he's played with Goon and Sharp before, like last year at X Games. Bring him in. I think he fits well. He's an X factor. He can roam around. He's been tearing it up at events. It's a great player. If teams are looking for someone, he's someone I would look at. Once again, Hook, if FaZe Red decides that they're not going to drop Aches or whatever's going on with that, the only reason I think that they would drop Aches is if they don't think that he's going to be fully committed to it. Look at it. We just had COD champs, but MLG champs are coming up in like October, and there's a lot of money on the line for that. Everyone's going to want to be the MLG champions. It's going to be a high-stressed event, and that's going to be something he wants to win. So he's going to want to prove himself at X Games that's coming up, and maybe the potential ESWC team. I don't think that's been announced yet. Optics going. There's another NA team. did applications or whatever, and so we don't know who that is yet. Could be FaZe, could be Envy, could be Nile. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see who that is. If it isn't anyone very good, or if there isn't another NA team, then Optic's just going to take it. But I think they'll put someone pretty good, and it'll be a good final or whatever goes on with that. Traveling and stuff. You saw it last year. There's a lot of teams that kind of shit the bed because they're just out of their comfort zone or whatever. But anyways, moving on. So FaZe Red potentially could go for Huke, TK, potentially Apathy, Envy. I'm thinking maybe Proofy, Huke, even Apathy, potential Study. I mean, I don't know how he performed at this event. I gotta think it wasn't the greatest because FaZe Black didn't really do that well. I know Apathy played well. What happens with Censor? Does he go to like a lower team? There's 12 teams in the league. Only 8 teams can go to X Games. There's going to be a lot of movements. Unfortunately, there's going to be a lot of players that maybe aren't as proven. They get knocked out of their roster spots. You look at TR, maybe they break up so they can get into the league. Maybe they are able to buy a spot. You look at TCM. They bought a spot. Do they want to keep that spot now that they perform so poorly? I mean, you got to think they do, so they don't perform badly next year. And now they have a chance to go to X Games and a chance to go to MLG Championship. They're on a team house, so they should do fairly well in the league and potentially get the 8th spot and go into X Games, which is a big deal. So, look at SB. That roster is not in the league. TR is not in the league. So those players like John, who played really well, Aqua, who played really well, Nagafin, who played really well. You got Neslo, who just does a lot of stuff. Fizz, I think he's a little underrated. Maybe a team lower on the totem pole in the league maybe picks him up. Maybe picks up a John. You look at like Justice. They've got Methods, TCM Felony. He would fit in well with them. Not really sure what Elevate's going to do with the whole Classic situation with Huddle. Mochilla Prof. That's the last one. I'm kind of running out on time for this video. So that's the last one I really want to talk about is Prophecy. Imbos. The pickup teams, you look at Sin, what they did at Orlando when it was him, Methods, Felony, and TCM, I think. They played really well at that event, and then you look at Champs, he basically goes with another pickup team, and they performed really well. They took 4th. They're the only team to beat Denial. Ricky's a great player. Moch is a great player. Right now, I don't think Moch is on that roster. Right now, I think it's Apathy, Study, Imbos, and Ricky, but all those players have been talking about looking for 2, so I think it's just Ricky and Bose are going to be the prof, and they're going to make moves to get the other 2, and who that's going to be, I don't know. I would think they're going to try to keep Moch, and I think Classic is going to be on Elevate, so they get rid of TJ Halley, do they get rid of Huddle? If so, TJ Halley would be a great player to move on to the team. The age restrictions aren't there until COD Champs next year, so Hook and TJ Halley are big players that you should go after. So what I would like them to do is get Moch after the suspension and then try to go get another Slayer. Is Proof he's still going to be available? Him and Bo's teamed on Optic Nation. He really wasn't in the role he wanted to be in. Would he be able to be in that role with Mochilla on the team? I don't know. It's kind of a tough one. But would he be able to fit in whatever role they put him in? You got Ricky, who's going to maybe play more of a support role in that situation. Moch played out of his mind. Class is a great slayer, so you just got to get someone that's going to slay out. And so I think Prof is going to be interesting what they end up doing. There's going to be a lot of players available. I think John would be my pick for the guy that I would choose for them. So, alright guys, I'm running out of time. Till next video, later.